This is Billy Graham. Friends, I want to tell you the greatest story ever told. The story of Richard Nixon, superstar. The story of a cold, indifferent wooden figure of a man who came out of nowhere into political life. A man who forced himself to smile when he loved to frown. A man who forced himself to shake hands when his hands were already shaking. And who did he do this for? Not for himself. He did this for you because he loves you. Yes, Richard Nixon, superstar. Who would have thought you'd ever go this far? Our story begins in a little California town in the year 1913. A lone star shines brightly overhead. A child enters the world.
Well, Mr. Nixon, it's a fine, healthy boy.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Only one thing was remarkable.
What's that?
I've never seen a newborn child with a 5 o'clock shadow. Well, I have to go. Good night. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Doc. Child born okay?
Well, yes, Tom, it was a boy. But only something bothered me. I can't put my finger on it, but I just don't trust that baby.
So it was clear from the very first. This was no ordinary child. We join him in his first attempt at elective office.
All right, class. It is time to elect the blackboard monitor. Now, let us hear the speeches from the candidates. Tommy?
If I'm elected blackboard monitor, I promise to keep the erasers clean and scrub the board every day.
Thank you, Tommy. Now, let's hear from Dickie.
That's Richard, if you please. Thank you, Miss Phillips. And thank you, Tommy. We can all find, of course, much truth in what Tommy has said. Where, then, do we differ? Everyone agrees that we must keep the erasers clean and the blackboard scrubbed. Unfortunately, Tommy has said nothing of those who would raid the chalk supply. We must use all means at our disposal to deal with this terrible mess. I want to see a generation of students free from the threat of chalk thieves. If elected, I promise a 4-day school week. An extra Jewish holiday for everyone, regardless of race, color, or creed.
Richard, please be seated.
Cue the balloons. Richard Nixon was always a go-getter. And he pursued an active social life. Hello, Betty. This is Dick Nixon. Dick Nixon from school. I've been sitting behind you for 5 years. That's right, Pinocchio. Betty, the reason I called you is this. After several months of careful deliberation, I have a statement to make. Betty, would you like to go out with me Saturday? You may have some time to think it over. You don't need any time. Very well, Betty, let me say this. This will be my last phone call to you. You won't have Dick Nixon to kick around anymore. Through success or adversity, Richard Nixon was always a good sport. He may not have been the best player on his high school football team, but no one tried harder than old bulldog Dick Nixon. Coach, can I get in the game now?
Not yet, Dick. Calvin, get in there. Oh, scored on us again. That makes it 37-0.
Look, Coach, you've emptied the bench. Just give me a chance. I know I can do it.
I remember what happened when I put you in last season.
All right, I admit I fumbled 6 times. But that was the old Dick Nixon. I'm a new player this year. A new Nixon. Coach, if you put me in, I have a plan that can win the game.
Really? Well, let's hear it.
I'm sorry, I can't tell you that. You'll just have to put me in.
All right. It's against my better judgment, but there's no place else to turn. Get in there, Dick, and show us your plan. I wonder what his plan could be.
And unto this day, that coach at Whittier High is still wondering exactly what Dick Nixon's plan was. His climb was swift. Congressman, senator, vice president, and then 2 crushing defeats. But did Richard Nixon accept defeat? No. He ignored his critics. He ignored the polls. He ignored the wishes of the American people. He picked himself up by his bootstraps and he tried again, never once losing sight of his destiny. And then, for reasons known only to God, he made it. On January 10th, 1969, Richard Milhouse Nixon became a superstar. He was inaugurated president of these United States.
All I have, I would have gladly given up not to be standing here today.
And after almost 3 years of his unique leadership, Richard Nixon surprised the nation with a new economic policy. My fellow Americans, as of today, I am announcing phase 1 of my economic program, a freeze on prices and wages. Some will say this will hurt the little guy most of all. But my friends, this will apply to your president as well. My income, of course, will be frozen at $200,000 a year. If people were surprised by the new economic policy, they were shocked by his complete about-face in foreign affairs. Mr. Chang, it gives me great pleasure to report to you, my fellow Chinese American, that I plan to visit the home of your forefathers. It will give our 2 great nations the opportunity to put differences aside and rekindle an old and long-standing friendship. we can finally trust each other once again. And that is why I have come to you this afternoon.
So sorry, no picky, no chirpy.
Richard Nixon shows his greatness in many ways. First of all, by admitting that no man is an island unto himself. No man can stand alone when he needs help. He is not afraid to ask for it. Now, Dick, what have you got to worry about in 1972? Let me see now. You can beat Muskie. You can beat Humphrey. That should be a cinch. You can beat McGovern. But of course, there are concerns about John Lindsay. You have to find a way to hurt him. Make him look bad. Really bad.
Operator, may I help you?
Hello, operator. Get me Nelson Rockefeller in Albany. And make that call collect. This is President Nixon.
Oh, certainly, sir.
This is Nelson Rockefeller. The governor of the state of New York and the owner of Puerto Rico.
I have a collect call from President Nixon.
I'll tell him to call back after 6 o'clock.
Tell him it's very, very important.
All right, operator, but let me know when 3 minutes are up, please.
Hello, Nelson?
What's the problem, Dick?
As you know, I will be running for another 4-year term in 1972.
I know. We all know. Who doesn't know? Everybody knows.
And frankly, I'm concerned about Mayor Lindsay. He just might be a candidate against me, and he could be tough to beat. He's intelligent. He's great on The Tonight Show. I've watched him. He and Pat... He's tall, good-looking, in his own way, of course.
Anybody, in my opinion, would look very good standing next to all that garbage all of the time.
Rocky, let's not mince words. How do I get Lindsay?
Well, the most important thing to do when you stop Lindsay Drive is to get in touch immediately with the Cornfeld Company in Trenton, New Jersey. They make artificial snow. I spent $10 million with Cornfeld and Queens alone. I tell you, Cornfeld's a genius. His snow never melts. They tried everything. They TNT'd it, nothing. You couldn't move it with a blowtorch. The people were going nuts in Queens, I tell you. They were up to their picnics in snow. I left them. They wanted to kill him, I'm telling you.
That is the weirdest story that I have ever heard in my entire life. Rocky, I have underestimated you. You're deceptive, unscrupulous, absolutely without principle. In short, my kind of people. Richard Nixon is not alone in his crucial daily decisions. He has the aid of Henry Kissinger, a man who is in excellent control of his mind, but unfortunately not of his carnal desires. I paid him a call recently to discuss this very subject.
Come in. How nice to see you again, Reverend Graham. What brings you here tonight?
Frankly, Henry, I'm very disturbed. Stories have reached my ears that you've been openly running around with women from all walks of life.
Oh, you came here to talk about women. Thank God. I thought you were going to try and convert me again.
Don't you realize with all your carousing, you are tainting the image of our beloved president?
What would you like me to do? Take cold showers? My brain is for Nixon. My body is for women. One day I got them confused. Don't ask me what happened.
Henry, you should sit down and read the good book.
I read a good book last night, The Sensuous Man. I loved it. There's a part in there, listen to this, where they tell you to put whipped cream on. I don't want to hear about that.
It seems for the time being your body is lost to the devil. But the least you can do is stop spending money carelessly on these Jezebels while the president is trying to fight a recession.
What would you expect me to do? Take Jill St. John to McDonald's? Reverend, speaking about economizing, those are pretty nice threads you've got on there, boy chick.
How dare you? The truth is I never bought any of these suits, Henry. They felleth from out of the sky. And I put them on it and they fitteth me perfectly. To tell you the truth, I'd rather walk around in rags than sandals. But I look so much better in a $300 suit. Good night to you, sir.
Mr. Graham's Wardrobe by Dimitri of Italy.
As election 72 approaches, a voice from the South rises once again.
This is George Wallace. I read where Mr. Muskie doesn't think he could win with a Negro running mate. Now, I'm going to say something that might surprise you. I would not have any objection to a Negro vice president, as long as he kept the White House lawn trim and came in every Thursday to do the windows.
Meanwhile, the loyal opposition was plotting against our beloved leader.
This is Senator Fulbright. Edmund, Hubert, Theodore, I think we're all here for the same purpose. Let's agree on the kind of candidate we want. Teddy, what is your opinion?
I have been asked if I will run for the presidency in 1972. I will not run. This is unequivocal, irrevocable, and unchangeable. I cannot run. I have a bad back. However, I can walk comfortably to wherever I have to go. I firmly believe this country is seeking a new image. A young image. An image of wealth and breeding. In short, a candidate who's never suffered with the albatross of defeat. A man who would demonstrate his courage by opposing a war before it was politically fashionable.
Gentlemen, I can find logic in what Theodore has said about the war. Edmund, when did you come out against the war?
I came out against the war on Moratorium Day. But it was early on Moratorium Day, well before noon. Not like some political opportunists who waited till 5, 6 in the afternoon.
What brought you to your change of heart, Edmund?
I was persuaded by thousands of dedicated, inspired, singing young Americans who were storming my office and breaking down my doors. Well, just let me say this about the war. I think this war has been very unfair to all of the candidates, especially me. I like the other wars much, much better. World War II, now there was a war you could trust. It had its good guys and it had its bad guys. A lot of great tunes came out of that war. Mrs. Humphrey and I still sing some of those songs to this day. And I ask you, gentlemen, name me one good song that came out of Vietnam.
As usual, Hubert, you're confusing the issue. We're not here to discuss songs. We're here to decide what kind of a candidate people will vote for next year. And I think the people of the United States are just like the people of Massachusetts. They weigh all the issues very carefully, and then they go into the polling booth and vote for the best-looking candidate.
If you're trying to say that Nixon and Agnew were better looking than we were, I won't swallow that piece of pudding. And I'll have you know I look better now than I ever did. I'm going mod, I'll have you know. I'm growing sideburns. One's already right in there, and I just expect the other one by spring to be looking right. And I've lost weight. I'm getting down. I've been on Dr. Stillman's water diet. I've never felt better in my life. When I wake up in the morning, I say, whoopee. When I go to bed at night, I say, yippee. And when I wake up in the middle of the night, I say, pee-pee. That's right. I get more joy and happiness from my pee-pee than I do from my whoopee or my yippee. Though I must confess quite often it's easier to come out with a good whoopee or a good yippee than a good pee-pee. And Lyndon Johnson isn't going to tell me anymore when a whoopee, when a yippee, and when a pee-pee. Well, what do you think now, Senator Fulbright?
I think you better do something about your pee-pee.
There is a loyal American who has devoted his life in service to our country. He has served his country and served his country and served his country and served his country. Miss Jones,
Yes,
check
sir.
my calendar, please. Who is my next appointment with?
The top man from the FBI, sir.
I thought Ephraim Zimbalist was coming in next week.
No, sir. Your appointment is with J. Edgar Hoover.
Oh, yes. I hope he remembers to come. The man is getting very forgetful lately.
He's here, sir.
Send him in. Come in. Come in if you can, Mr. Hoover. It's good to see you. Sit down.
Good to see you, Mr. President.
I asked you here today to discuss the age of certain FBI personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, Mr. Hoover, that there isn't a man on your staff who hasn't had a prostate operation? Some of them are past the age of mandatory retirement.
They're all younger than me.
Precisely, Mr. Hoover. And that is why, of course, I wanted to see you to discuss with you the matter of retirement.
Why, that's ridiculous. Why, you're still a young man.
Not my retirement, Mr. Hoover. I'm talking frankly about your retirement.
Why, Mr. Roosevelt, I can't believe you're saying that.
I am President Nixon. If you're going to call me by someone else's name, at least pick a Republican.
I know why you're mad, but I'm doing the best I can. And if you'll just give me a little more time, I promise you I'll get Dillinger.
You've already got Dillinger. You told me the story 300 times. The lady in red, remember? The movie theater, remember? Think, Mr. Hoover. Think for just a moment. Think.
Calm down, Mr. Nixon. I know there's a lot of pressure on you with Ike being so sick. You might be president yourself someday.
I am the president. How many times must I tell you that I am in charge? Do I make myself clear, Mr. Zimbalist?
He's not coming until next week, remember? My name's Hoover, the same as yours.
At this point, I don't care who you think I am. I can be all of them at one time. I don't care. You are going. You are finished. You are finito. It is all over for you. Out, out. It's time to hang up your holster, sit on a little rocking chair, rock and rock back and forth, back and forth. Your career in the FBI is over.
I don't think it is.
And what exactly do you mean? You don't think it is? The president just told you that it is.
I just thought the country might like to see some of the pictures and documents I have.
Don't bother, Mr. Hoover. I am simply shocked. If you think for one moment that you can blackmail the President of the United States, you've got another thing coming. Let me see those pictures. Oh, my. Fakes, fakes. They're all fakes. Where did you get these things? I thought I threw them away long ago.
You did, but you know that old Irish cleaning lady who works here?
You mean Kathleen?
Sure and bigorra, isn't it a fine day we're having, Mr. Nixon?
My God, you're Kathleen!
I'll be going now. You be sure and give my best to Ladybird.
Richard Nixon is not the only politician who is misunderstood by the young voters of America.
But this is Mayor Daley of Chicago. And I want to go on record now as saying I like the youth of this country. I like the hippies, I like the dippies, I like the yippies. I like the Chicago 7, the Indianapolis 500. I like everybody. I even like Royko and Ribicop. I'm not a bad guy. I got a sense of humor. Just don't call me or my police department pigs. Do I look like a pig to you? We're not pigs. You don't call people pigs. We're not pigs. It's true. 4 of us went to market. 3 of us stayed home. 2 of us had those feet. I got a sense of humor.
Richard Nixon is a modern-day Pied Piper. Young people follow him because he has learned to speak their language.
Hello, boys and girls. Today's show is brought to you by the letter, and it's a great letter, by the letter W. And this is not to say, of course, that the letter W is any better or worse than the other wonderful letters of our great alphabet. Make no mistake about it, my little friends. When I was a little lad, like all of you boys and girls out there, I always wanted my own alphabet. But we were too poor for our own alphabet. My father worked long hours shoveling snow in the coal mines of California. He knew that I wanted an alphabet, but the most he could afford to give me was an old second-hand I and a used Q. How I treasured my IQ. It wasn't much, but it was all I had. But now that I'm president, I can have all of the letters that I want. FBI, CIA, IRS, M&M. In closing, let me say this. I received in the mail 2 letters from a little boy in Nebraska. He had heard that I was once too poor to have my own alphabet. So he sent me 2 letters, which I'd like to read
for you right now. Dear Mr. President, P.U. Your friend, he says here, your friend, Jimmy Jones. Now, all I can say is, as long as our alphabet produces such generosity of spirit, I'm proud to be an American. Thank you, Jimmy, and a P.U. to you, too. Richard Nixon, a giant of a man, will always listen to what his critics have to say. Pat, put on the television. I want to hear what David Brinkley has to say tonight.
Oh, Dick, you know how that man upsets you. Can't we listen to Howard K. Smith?
No, Pat. Put Brinkley on. I'm a big boy now.
This is David Brinkley. And this is David Brinkley's Journal. Tonight we're going to assess President Nixon's weaknesses with the electorate.
Please, Dick, there's a good movie on it.
Shush. Pat, quiet.
He is losing ground amongst his longtime supporters, the conservatives, and he's not gaining any with the liberals.
Dick, we're missing Let's Make a Deal.
However, if the election were held today, the president would score his lowest marks among the blacks, the farmers, and the young radicals.
I'm going to get to the bottom of this. And true to his word, the next day, Richard Nixon, the Richard Nixon, met with a black, a farmer, and yes, a radical.
Sir, Muhammad Ali is here to see you.
Send him in. Hold it. Just wait a moment. I just need time to spread these copies of Ebony and Jet out on the desk. All right. Send him in. Welcome to the White House, Mr. Ali. Mr. Nixon, if you're talking to me, my name is not Ali, my name is Muhammad Ali. You're right, this is the whitest house I've seen yet. I wonder what you're doing with Ebony and Jet.
I wonder why he's rhyming. What does he think he is, Rod McEwen?
I try and keep up with the problems of our nation's minority groups. Let me assure you, Mr. Ali, my heart is in the right place. You say your heart is in the right place, but I just cannot trust that face. I've had 30 fights, and I don't have a mark, while your face looks like an amusement park.
Why is he so mad? What did I do wrong? Maybe this is some kind of Negro game. I'm supposed to rhyme along with him.
Well, Mr. Ali, my heart is in the right place. I have compassion for the people of your race.
Keep going. You're doing just fine.
I realize what a ghetto can be. La-dee-da-dee-da-da-dee. La-dee-da-dee-da-da-dee. And this is the cat that runs the whole country. That just shows you where things are at. Joe Fraser could have done better than that.
He's definitely getting hostile. Maybe I'm not playing well enough. Give it all you've got this time.
My fellow American, why should we fight? Black is black and white is white. Let all our differences be gone. We'll stand together as brothers and say, right on. Right on the unemployment line is where you're going to be. If you think any of the brothers will accept your guarantee, black is black and white is white. And if you're black, stay back. If you're white, you're all right. If you're a red man, you better give up your land. And if you're Spanish, you better vanish. And if you're brown, you better not even come around. You handled that beautifully. I guess that sews up the Negro vote. Miss Jones, send in that representative of the farmers now.
Lyndon Johnson had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Hello there, Dick.
Hello, Lyndon. I must admit, I'm a little surprised to see you here in this capacity.
Well, we do some farming down at the LBJ Ranch, and I suppose that makes me a bona fide farmer.
I would have believed you, Lyndon. You didn't have to come here in your overalls and carrying a pitchfork.
This is how we farmers dress, Dick. You best take note of this. You might be put out to pasture soon yourself.
As representative of the farm workers of America, what exactly do they want of me?
I think they want the same thing that they wanted in '68.
What's that?
A new president.
Lyndon, you've been through this before. What am I doing wrong? Do you think it's my economic policies?
No, your economic policies are fine. Things keep up this way, and pretty soon we'll be too hungry to notice there's still a war going on.
Well, Lyndon, I appreciate your advice. Thank you. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to let me know.
As a matter of fact, there is one thing.
Just you name it.
That chair you're sitting in. Just one more time. Let me sit in the chair. Just one more time, and it isn't going to hurt anybody. Just let me put myself down there. Let me feel it just once more.
I don't know. Let me think about it for just 1 second.
Please, I promise I'll get right up as soon as I sit there.
All right. But don't say anything, or I'll have to let everybody who comes in here sit there.
Oh, that feels good.
All right, that's enough. Up. Come on.
Please, Dick, just a little while longer. It feels so good. It's been so long.
No, now that's my chair. I worked for that chair. I lost in '60 for that chair. I lost in '62. Up.
Do you tell you the truth, Dick? I don't think I can.
What do you mean you don't think you can?
I'm stuck to the damn thing.
Well, put your arms around me. Come on. Push, Lyndon, push.
I tell you, I'm stuck to the damn thing. It won't budge.
Miss Jones, call the plumber. Come on. We've got to get him up out of the chair. Now, just remember, rap, gap, heavy, cool, bag. You can do it. You've kept up with the times, Dick. You can do it. All right, Miss Jones, send Jerry Rubin in. Hello, Mr. Rubin. Well, it certainly is nice to have this opportunity to sit face to face and just start rapping, so to speak, with you.
Rap? What kind of rap you talking about, man? Reynolds rap? Saran wrap? Baggies? What am I, the man from Glad? Man from Glad. Go to the White House. President wants to rap.
What I want to find out is where you're at, what your bag is. I realize we are as different as two people can be. Our philosophies, the way we look. But I'm not putting you down. I think that's a lovely mural you have painted on your face. I might just add, if I may, that when I was a young boy growing up in Whittier, California, I often wore cockamammies on my hands.
Cockamamie? You're a cockamamie. You know what this is? This is love, man. This is my woman expressing her true cosmic feelings on my face. You should let your old lady try it.
My old lady. Well, I'll mention that to Pat, of course. It will certainly consider. Now, Mr. Rubin, I asked you here today because I know you don't agree with all of my policies, which is perfectly understandable. I'm very interested, of course, in finding out what you, a representative of the young, a radical, if I can call you that, if you don't mind me saying that, what you could suggest to me. What am I doing wrong?
Wrong, man? What are you doing right? Why are we still in Vietnam? Why were we ever in Vietnam?
We are in Vietnam, protecting the right of the South Vietnamese people to choose their own destiny, if not in this life, then in the next.
You're unbelievable. Look what's going on in this country. Guys making $5,000 a year paying taxes, and some guys making $2 million don't pay any.
Well, now, hold it a second. If you are referring to my good friend, B.B. Rebozo, I resent that.
I'm referring to any dude that's living in a house with 2 swimming pools, 4 cars, and a French poodle, while some other dude is living with rats in a ghetto.
Now, just a minute. I know how bad a ghetto can be. La-di-da-di-da-di-da.
What are you talking about? You're really flipped out.
Well, you'll have to excuse me then, Jerry. It's been a very long day. Exactly what do the people in your movement want from me?
I'll tell you what we want. We want revolution. We want to tear down the establishment, the military-industrial complex, the Bank of America, General Motors.
Mr. Rubin...
Cool it, man. The Pentagon, the Smithsonian Institute, Howard Johnson, Macy's, William Morris. This whole sick country and its whole sick war machine.
And tell me, Mr. Rubin, what would you do after everything was torn down?
I don't know, man. Maybe we'll just sit there and groove on the rubble.
One thing still puzzles me. Would you be happier living in some other country?
Are you kidding, man? I love it here. I'm hot, baby. This country's good to revolutionaries. College tours, book royalties. I'm making a fortune.
What can we look forward to under the visionary leadership of Richard Milhouse Nixon?
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. I come before you at this time to fulfill that annual constitutional responsibility of my office and report on the State of the Union. I would like to go directly to the subject, which is most on the minds of concerned Americans, our nation's economy. Unfortunately, phase 16 of my economic game plan, the 150% surcharge, and the deportation of all unemployed Americans has not proved as effective as hoped for. However, let me say this. I am taking this opportunity to announce phase 17 of my economic policy. The United States of America, this great land of ours, is having a going out of business sale. Now let's talk about some of the values being offered here today. Friends, what's the most unusual structure around Washington, besides myself? That's right, the Pentagon. And now it can be yours, the whole Pentagon, every sliding door, every secret room, every hiding place, every passage, every general, all the makings of another Disneyland. And my fellow Americans, let me just say a word about the state of Rhode Island. It's small but cute,
Upkeep is low. This is one of the most economical states to run. Easy financing, let me tell you that. Terms are available. And remember, also for sale, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and Fire Island. My fellow Americans, be among the first 1,000 people to call. You will receive absolutely free of charge this amazing kitchen tool, the Germanic. It cuts, it grates, it dices. Watch your president, how easily your president slices a tomato. Ow! The Germanic will cut anything, even your president. Finally, my fellow Americans, I am for sale. That's right, your president is for sale. The president of the United States. I have vast executive experience. Don't be fooled by these bags under my eyes. I am still young and strong, and make no mistake about that.
Notveryprettymusic.blogspot.com